Hey there, we can't thank you enough for listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Before we get started on today's podcast, I want to let you know about the Central Indiana Scoreboard Show every single weekday at 1 p.m. We talk Pacers, we talk Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, Ball State, IndyCar, and so much more every day on the Central Indiana Scoreboard Show. It's kind of like an ESPN Sports Center for Central Indiana. Please come join us every single weekday at 1 p.m. This episode is podcast number 255.5, the Major League Baseball Report with Codey Emerson and Uncle Paul. Of course, Codey Emerson from the Greencastle banner graphic, and Uncle Paul knows more about baseball than anyone else I know.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, baseball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report, here to do our weekly accounting of what's been going on in Major League Baseball with Uncle Paul and Codey Emerson, of course, of the Greencastle banner graphic. I got it right that time, right, Codey?
Yes.
All right. I keep saying Greensburg and Greenville and
There's so many greens here in Indiana.
There's so many greens that I got them mixed up. And we start, as we always do, in the National League Central. Still very competitive atop the Central. Paul, your thoughts on the National League Central after another week?
Good news for the Reds today. Shota Imanaga lost to the relatively hapless Milwaukee Brewers today. So,
yeah, I never like to see the Brewers win, though. I wouldn't call it a good day.
I
call it
I'm sorry.
Okay day.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And when we look at the standings now in the Central, and the Cubs are still on top. Their gap has actually widened since the last time we talked, Paul. They're now up 2.5 games on the Reds, 4 on the Brewers. Pretty ugly atop the division outside of the Cubs. The next best team's 2 games over 500. Cubs just keep scoring runs. Codey?
I noticed that the Reds have a leadoff hitter who went into the game. He led off the game with a single, raising his average to 168 today.
That's actually, over the last few years, that's probably a good leadoff hitter for the Reds. Billy Hamilton was probably below that, right? For years.
When you look at the NL Central, it's just. I think that we got to start talking about. I know there's still a long way to go. I know we're still only in the first just past the first month of baseball, but the Cubs are starting to look like a pretty impressive team. I mean, and the best part about it is when you look at their schedule, they've maneuvered. I think they're done with the Dodgers because they started obviously out over in
they've already played them
Japanese series.
Yeah.
So they're already done with the Dodgers, and they've handled their business when they've played some of those tough NL West teams. I know the Cubs are easy. For me, they're easy. In the years past, they were easy to make fun of. I have no real affiliation being a Braves fan, but I really can't talk trash right now with how bad the Braves are playing, but that's neither here nor there. But the Cubs, I talk about the Reds a lot too because everyone at work that I work with is they're either a Cubs or Reds fan.
Right.
So, the Reds, you're getting Hunter Green is obviously pitched well, and then you're 18 and 16. I don't know exactly what Reds fans thought the expectations were coming into the year, but the NL Central just kind of seems to be, routinely just, I hate to say mediocre, but that's what it's been over the years.
It has been for a while.
You have the Cubs, you usually have the division winner as the only really decent team. And I think the Cubs and the Reds can be those two teams this year. Yeah, and I hope so. I mean, those are especially. I mean, like I said, I have coworkers, I have friends who are Reds fans. Cincinnati deserves something to cheer about in terms of baseball, so I'm hoping that they do well.
And Paul, as you said, Matt McClain is batting 167. If he can, it's been a year and a half since he's done it, but if he can be the guy who bats 290 and drives in 100 runs with that pitching, it's a dangerous team.
Yes, they have a lot of potential, especially if Milwaukee is going to flounder a bit.
They sure look like they are. I expected it
Hopefully.
last year, and it didn't happen last year, but it looks like it's happening this year.
I don't think people expected Pittsburgh to be this bad. I mean, Pittsburgh, you expected they're 12-23, and that is the second worst record in the National League, only behind the absolutely abysmal Colorado Rockies. That is a team that just cannot. I mean, O'Neal Cruz has shown flashes, but you would think with that rotation, you wouldn't need a ton of offense.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, that offense was really good, and they weren't getting any pitching.
Yeah, now it's just you have a great rotation, and they've only scored 114 runs, which is that dead last? No, that's only behind Colorado. For when you're only behind Colorado, you're pretty much the worst, I guess, because Colorado's in its own territory right now. But
And they got to play that schedule against that division all year. It's going to be a bad year for them.
Yes,
just
I agree.
Doesn't help.
They got shut out again today too.
Yeah.
And the Mets look legit, right, guys?
Yes, I think the Phillies are going to give them some competition, but it looks like if they can do this well without Juan Soto being Juan Soto, it's hard to imagine them finishing third in that division in any way.
Yeah, keep waiting for the drop off, and it's not happening. It doesn't look
just
like
wait
it.
till
Plus
October.
57.
September, October. That's when it typically happens.
Oh, okay. Cody's holding out some hope for the Braves there.
I typically don't put a ton of stock into the first month of baseball, and that's just how I've been. But I could go on with I could talk about probably about 3 hours about how bad the Braves have been at times, and just how lifeless they've been. I mean,
but no longer in last place.
They were in third up until this past series with, and then of course you get the Dodgers, who the Braves were competitive in that first game, and then lost last night 10-3, and then the whole entire world gets to see how pitiful Bryce Elder is tonight when the Braves and Dodgers go on ESPN. So he's pitched better as of late, but he's still got a 5.6 ERA, I believe, and that's down from a 7 than it was a couple weeks ago. So it's hopefully we don't get swept and give him some run support tonight, but we're going to need it playing the Dodgers.
You don't sound too pessimistic. I mean, too optimistic there, Cody.
Not with Bryce Elder on the mound, I do not.
Okay.
What upsets me is Chris Sale's starting to maybe come into form and look like Chris Sale. And I don't even, as a Braves fan, I don't need him to do what he did last year. Last year was no one expected. Obviously winning the Triple Crown and the Cy Young, and if he can just be a typical ace and give you 200 innings or stay relatively healthy. Spencer Schwellenbach's fine. I thought we would have Spencer Strider by now, but of course he makes one start and then he immediately tweaks his oblique or hamstring, and he's still a little bit of ways away from coming back. The laundry list of things that have gone wrong for the Braves. I mean, it starts with Jurickson and Profar. I mean, prized free agent signing gets suspended for PEDs. Is eligible for then you have Acuna, obviously still rehabbing. You have the Strider. Sean Murphy didn't start. He's playing really well, but he missed the first couple weeks of the year. The Braves are just finding ways and ways to lose. The bullpen's been atrocious. Braves front office really didn't do anything to address it, and that led to the 0-7. The Braves started the year 0-7, so the fact that they're 14-11 cents, I mean, I'll take. And I want to see this team when because it's hard to be fully healthy in baseball, but I just want to see what it's like. I'm holding out hope that everyone can be healthy at once and it starts clicking. Because with there being 3 wild card spots, I'm still holding out hope that this team can get it together and, make the wild. I'm not asking to win. I mean, we did it, 2-3 years ago when we made that run in September, like 10.5 back of the Mets, and ended up that's probably not going to happen again. But if they can make the playoffs, anything can happen from there. So we'll see. It's been rough. 14-18 on the year, and looking to know. Before this series, I was actually, holding out hope or things would get turned around because Braves had won like 3 or 4 straight series, and had a chance to get to 500. I think in that series finale against Colorado, and of course lost. So we are one of Colorado's 6 wins on the year, which is another frustrating aspect. But
before we move to the American League real fast, Uncle Paul, you brought up the Diamondbacks. They are the 4th best team in their division, it looks like. Still might be one of the best teams and be a playoff team, but getting in the playoffs against that division, if you're the 4th best team, it's going to be awfully difficult.
I agree, and their bullpen has been I can't even say a work in progress. It's just been a bite your nails and hope that somebody can do it. So they scored the most runs last year, and they're doing real well in the scoring department. So, but you need a reliable bullpen.
Let's move to the American League, and the same 3 teams are in first place in the American League. That's not a surprise at all. What is the second place Athletics?
Correct.
What about that?
Although I'm more shocked by Seattle leading that division than I am about the A's. That's quite a turnaround. They look like out of the gate they were finishing the season like they did last year, and now they're rivaling the Tigers for the best record in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the A's, and I'm hoping it stays this way, because they deserve, kind of like the A's are kind of like the Reds. They deserve to have something good happen to them. I mean, you talk about Tyler Soderstrom has really come out of nowhere. No one knew his name before. I guarantee you probably A's fans didn't know who he was before the year started. And he's been 282 with 9 home runs and 25 RBIs. Brent Rooker, 9 home runs with 243, and then just have a consistent Jacob Wilson. They've got young talent that are it's starting to click all at once.
The use of your word deserves confuses me, Cody.
The A's as much as they've been this talk of baseball, but not for good reasons.
Well, who is it who deserves in this equation?
The players are too young to deserve it, and the ownership can't deserve
the
it.
fans aren't fantastic
It's
either.
too late for the Oakland loyal fan base. So
I'll say, okay, yes, the fans. That's fair enough. I'm just tired of, finally, Houston is at 17 and 15. Texas is a little bit disappointing.
Those are the one. That was the next thing I was going to mention was that they're ahead of Houston and Texas, two teams we expected to be contenders.
I agree with you, Cody, that it's a nice story for baseball. Here's this team without a home, and they're doing well.
I didn't even know whether to call them Oakland or Vegas. Can we call them that officially yet?
I don't think
so.
Yeah, they don't really feel like Oakland's team anymore.
No. I mean, yeah, like I said, they've been the story or one of the stories of baseball over the last few years, but not for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
They're going with a -22 run differential too, which they're getting outscored by 22 runs and still 3 games over 500. You're finding that just tells me you're winning a lot of close games.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably won't last. Although I will say that Will Rutherford, our 5 questions guy, predicted at the beginning of the year that he thought the A's would be at the top of the division.
Wow, that's a bold pick. Although
he didn't say they would win it, he just thought they would be near the top of the standings at the end of the year. Don't be surprised if they win the division, is what he said.
Something's wrong in Texas though, because the Astros and the Rangers, neither one look like they want to play baseball at all.
I don't know what's the deal with Texas. They've
been horrible.
They have all the talent in the world.
They can't score a run.
They did. They did today, but you don't believe it now.
The fact that Texas cannot score a run is baffling with that offense.
Absolutely.
You have Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, Adolis Garcia. I'm just rattling off things. I'm not even looking at.
It's an offense that won a World Series just 2 years ago.
Yeah,
correct. Yes,
exactly.
It's basically the same lineup. And how about the Baltimore Orioles?
Oh my,
that was not expected.
Speaking of the Orioles, today the Kansas City Royals had the fewest home runs of any team in Major League Baseball. Hit 7 home runs against Oriole pitching today.
Wow.
An all-time Royals record. So that was kind of interesting. But yes, I think Baltimore, they beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. But if we're moving to the East, I would nominate that as the most mediocre division in all of baseball. The second place Red Sox are 500 now. And if it weren't for Max Fried, the Yankees would also be at 500. By the way, Cody, that was the speaking of the Braves rotation, the Yankees really appreciate Max Fried.
When I saw the number, the Braves weren't going to match it. They just won. It was obviously a topic of the offseason.
He's a good one.
I've had the opinion that he's the best left-handed pitcher in baseball over the last few years. And yeah, especially with Garrett Cole having Tommy John surgery, they have needed every single inning that Max Fried can give. I hate to see. I love that he's doing well. The fact that it's for the Yankees, though, kind of makes it, not well for me. Oh. And of course, I find a way to tie everything back to the Braves. I'm so glad the Braves chose to not re-sign Charlie Morton because he has been an absolute dumpster fire.
Don't you hate to see a guy finish his career that way?
I really do. I mean, I thought Charlie Morton. Actually, I'm glad the Braves disagreed with me. I wanted us to maybe re-sign him on a 1-year cheap deal and him be the 4th or 5th starter. So I'm glad that they disagreed with what I wanted because the running joke is that he's going to get DFA'd and the Braves are going to take a flyer on him, funny story, if you've been playing, if you have played for the Braves in like the past 5 years, keep your phone close to you because you might get a call because they just brought back Eddie Rosario, Craig Kimbrell's in AAA.
Yeah,
they're trying a little bit of everything right now, so it wouldn't shock me if
Paul, you mentioned how
Charlie
mediocre the East has been. The Central has been very good lately.
Yes.
The top of the Central, in particular, the Royals, Tigers, and Cleveland have all been really good.
Yeah, it's that's wide open. Although it looks like I'm beginning to think the Tigers have the talent to win that division.
Sure looks that way.
I'm glad the Tigers are finally. I thought the Tigers would, compete a little sooner than this, but once again, it's kind of. I'm glad to see them finally putting everything together. They've gotten Tariq Skubal does not get talked about enough. I mean, I know he won the Cy Young last year, but he still doesn't get talked about enough. That's how good he is. And just Detroit, it's a lot of. And who would have thought if Javi Baez is batting 300? I saw that the other day. I haven't really paid close attention. He's batting 293.
His moving from the infield to the outfield looked like a desperate measure to ease him out of the city, because that has been a historically bad signing.
Oh yes,
up until this year, but all of a sudden,
yeah, I don't know what. I mean, let's see here. He's 32 years old, and has been an absolute dumpster fire in Detroit until, like I said, until this year. So I don't know what it is about. I guess a switch is finally getting turned on after all this time.
Looks that way.
Exactly how to explain it.
Speaking of batting averages, am I seeing right that Aaron Judge is batting .432?
No, he's way down after a bad day today. He's down to .420.
Oh no!
Yes, for a while he was in this game today that they lost. He was hitting at .426, and it just reminded me that the all-time highest batting average in a season ever is .424. So
he's not quite there right now.
Well, no, he slipped under it. So Rogers Hornsby's got some, he's probably breathing easier now.
And the last to bat 400 was Ted Williams, correct?
Correct. 406, 1941.
Is that in jeopardy?
No, not at all. No.
I didn't think so, but if you do it for a month, who's to say you can't do it for...
That is correct.
Well, and especially because Aaron Judge can do this in any ballpark he wants, because he can take a practice swing and hit it 500 feet. But I do say that his numbers are slightly inflated just because the fact of the ballpark that he plays in.
Nah. Don't buy it.
Right? I love Aaron Judge. Actually, me loving a Yankee player is very... He's... You think of great Yankee players like Derek Jeter, people hated him. Not many. I don't know of many people, like, if you're a Red Sox fan, you obviously hate him. But Aaron Judge is kind of likable, I guess.
He's very likable.
Just that short. I have an issue with that short right field in Yankee Stadium being like 293 or 292.
It's been that way since the 1900s.
No, that's not right either. It is short, Cody, but let's not exaggerate. By the way, Cody, Aaron Judge is as likable as you are. That's how likable he is.
And we got to talk about Pete Alonso too. Just that guy just hits every single day.
Do we have to? Do we have? I mean, we don't have to talk about the Mets at all.
No, if we're going to have a good baseball podcast of what's been going on, I think we do need to talk about Pete Alonso.
I think it's early for fans in any stadium to be chanting MVP about this year. But for the first month, he definitely earned that Player of the Month award. And, and the Mets were, I think they came close to not signing him. So...
Yeah, I was waiting all off season. It took a while. Him batting .347, kind of, It scares me. It really does. Because I've been on record of saying I wasn't really a fan of, let me rephrase. I wasn't worried about that Mets lineup overall. I mean,
Yeah,
you
me
have Pete
too.
Alonso, you have Juan Soto, you have stars, but if Pete Alonso's doing this, then it helps, it
Yes.
complements the other guys and takes some pressure off of them.
I thought the
Because
Phillies' offense was better, but I might be wrong.
And
I thought it was too.
the Mets
Yeah,
pitching has been a big surprise to me.
especially with some of the injuries. Like
Yes.
to begin the year, I mean, is it? I think it was Codey Senga. I think is missed the start of the year, and I just remember hearing like as spring training was getting done, like the concerns that was in the Mets rotation. So yep, they've done, and it pains me to give the Mets compliments because as a Braves fan, I will say Lowell Mets will never die because they'll find ways to mess it up, and I hope they do. Um, but we'll see. I will give
Their
them their
gamble to
comeuppance
turn
right now.
the Yankee closer of last year into a starting pitcher has worked out well for them too, surprisingly.
Well, next week, guys, it is the Reds and Braves. So Cody and I will not be speaking for the next few days. And then it's the Yankees and Padres. So big series for the Yankees as well. The Cubs host the Giants, and that is the only time I ever hope the Cubs win is when they're playing the Giants.
The Giants rank lower than the Cubs do?
Oh, yes. You remember I grew up, the Reds and Giants were division rivals.
I remember the Hunter Pence in the dugout. I do remember
No,
that.
I'm talking about I'm talking way before that. I'm
Oh.
talking 1987 to 1992 Giants when they
See.
were in the same division. And
Yes.
Greg, can we just agree to have a split? Will that make both of us happy?
no, I want
Well,
the
actually,
Giants to lose every game.
The
no, Reds Braves
don't
this
you
week.
agree that the Giants have,
no, sorry.
don't you agree that the Giants have the best broadcasting team in
Yes,
baseball?
they do. Yes,
Okay.
they do.
That must irritate you then.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little
All right.
bit, but yeah, that was the one thing living in California for a couple of years that the announcers and for the Giants and Dodgers were so good.
Well,
Being able to get those radio stations.
this is way too early to talk about this, but you're both I'm extending an invitation to come out here in the desert in a couple of years, so that we can go up to Las Vegas and watch the A's play.
Our A's, the team
Correct.
of the Central Indiana Sports Report,
Sure.
The mysterious town A's.
the Vagabond A's. Is that the?
They may be a serious contender.
That's
That you
right.
never know.
Thank you so much to Uncle Paul and Cody for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report, and thank you for listening. If you'd like the Central Indiana Sports Report to continue to grow and thrive, please share these segments with your friends and family. We appreciate it in advance. Central Indiana Sports Report is brought to you by TG Media, and I love Susie.